This week is officially the first week of summer, and that is another term could be trigger season. I know there's a couple of trigger seasons if you listen to this show, but trigger season definitely for summer. And there's a lot about summer, the heat, and more that really can bring out triggers or even temptations during this season. And those temptations are to go back to unwanted sexual behaviors. And so we want to talk about, as we're getting into the summer months, what it could look like to stay healthy, because it's something that we all, I think, really want to do. So let's just start with this. Both you guys' opinion, why is summer so triggering? Why can it be so difficult to stay healthy during these months?
Well, I'll answer for myself, is when the sun comes out, the clothes come off, and there's a lot of skin, and you have, it just seems like you have a lot less control over what we see. You know, we can kind of control the things we see in the winter when we have accountability software and those kinds of things. In the summer, you know, there's just a lot of skin everywhere you go.
Yeah, I know as I was thinking about this topic in my, struggles, the challenge of summer was how many situations that would come up where you would feel like there was almost permission to look or to lust, because I wasn't searching for that, but we're at the lake with the kids and there it is, or I'm just, I'm out for a walk and that person's not dressed appropriately. And it's like that excuse system in our brains, I think, can kick in, because we can say, well, I wasn't seeking that out, but there it was in front of me. And if we're not really paying attention to our guardrails or what's healthy for our thinking and our patterns, we can give ourselves permission to enter into situations that can be very triggering, or that can create that imagery in our minds that well beyond that moment, we're still carrying it with us. And what I have found for myself, and I think so many other men and women that struggle with visual temptation, if we could put it that way, is it's not even just what we see in the moment, it's how the moments start to add up and kind of put us into this mental or emotional loop where we kind of keep adding fuel to the fire, if you will. And maybe after a series of those kind of moments or days, we can find ourselves really tempted towards acting out or going to places we've promised not to go back to.
Another thing, too, that we've talked a number of times on the show about is that the summer we tend to have vacation. Our schedule is less tight. It's not as regimented, and that can be a challenge. And again, speaking for myself, like as we're doing, I need to have like a disciplined schedule. I need to have a regimen. I need to have rhythms and habits that I'm consistently doing in order to maintain health. And the summer can throw curveballs in that. And it could be anything from, like, to your point, Mike, about like more skin. It could be like, hey, someone just invited us to go on the boat tonight. Do you want to go do it? And so I might have like maintained my regular rhythm throughout the day. It's like, oh, this evening I'm going to be in a situation I'm not normally in, where maybe there is more skin, or I am in an environment where maybe the shared values are not there, from everybody that's out on the river or whatever. And so I think that that's another aspect too, is that we have to be aware that the lack of schedule can create some of this issue for us too.
I resonate with that quite a bit. I'm a very kind of compartmentalized guy. I like my routine, my rhythms, my just my schedule. And it can be a trigger for me when I get outside of that and I don't have that the time or schedule boundaries that I normally have.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, it's not just maybe the visual draw or temptations we might face, but it is, like we've discussed on some of our holiday episodes, we may be around people that are part of being triggering, even because of past pain or trauma. So taking vacations where we're traveling and we're around family or in-laws, even neighborhood gatherings and barbecues where we're seeing people that maybe have been part of a challenge for us in the past, whether because they are a triggering person visually, or because they trigger emotional pain or woundedness in us, and acting out has been part of how we've responded to that in the past. And so I think very much that recovery tends to be about having healthy rhythms and routines and patterns, and summer can just throw all of that out of whack. And if we're not thoughtful to kind of look ahead, to think ahead, to plan ahead, to be prepared, we really could be ripe to fail, not because we tried to, but just because we weren't self-aware enough to realize some challenging situations were going to be coming our way.
Yeah, I would have to say in my recovery journey, I've noticed that you initially get some traction on certain things that really trip you up, but there are other patterns that have taken me years to recognize, and usually over the summer when those schedules aren't as tight. Yeah.